Well, guys, it's that time of the year again. The year is coming to a close. 2019 is just a few days away. I'm almost positive I'm not going to be seeing any more movies that came out in 2018, so it's time to make my top 10 favorite movies of 2018. Like always, every year, a few disclaimers before I get started, and these disclaimers are something you want to keep in mind while watching this video. 2018 was not a very good year for me. I'm going to be completely real. It wasn't. It was one of the hardest years of my life, and because of that, I really slacked on movies this year. I didn't see as much movies as I did last year or the year before that. So, unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of great movies that people really loved that aren't going to be on my list because I didn't really get a chance to see it. Quick spoiler alert, movies like A Star is Born, Searching, Hereditary, those movies are unfortunately not going to be on my list. I feel really bad to say that. I'm sure they're great movies and I would have loved to see them. But for one reason or another, I wasn't able to see them, and I can't really include them if I haven't seen them. So, what the movies that I did see, I've got my list right here. With movies that I did see, I was able to scrounge up 10 with a few honorable mentions. So, really keep that in mind. I didn't see every single movie this year. I really slacked this year. So really keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that you're probably going to disagree with this list. There's going to be some picks that a lot of people are going to disagree with. But also, some of these movies aren't really the best movies that came out this year. Some people might even hate some of these movies that came out this year. But these are the 10 movies that I saw this year that I actually said to myself, you know what? I enjoyed that movie. It might not be the best, but if I at least enjoyed the movie, and I would watch it over and over again, and my thoughts aren't going to change, then that's going to count for my favorites. Again, this list isn't called the best movies. This list is called my favorite movies. So, enough beating around the bush. Let's get right into number 10. Starting off my list at number 10 is The Mule. A movie that did pretty good overall. Not a lot of people talked about it, but I really, really enjoyed this movie. I have a soft spot in my heart for Clint Eastwood. He's one of my favorite actors. I think he's one of the better directors working today. And the man's almost 80 years old. I think he is 80 years old, actually. Not really sure how old he is, but he's still making movies. A lot of people would have retired by now. And this movie showed that he still got it as a director and as an actor. Is the movie perfect? No. Is it considered one of his best movies? No. This is all stuff I said in my review. But did I enjoy myself watching this movie? Yeah. Would I watch this movie again when it comes out on Blu-ray? Hell yeah. So for my number 10, The Mule. Here's where the hate's going to come in. Here's where a lot of people are going to disagree. My pick for number 9 is Solo: A Star Wars Story. I was nervous putting this one on my list. I really, really was. A lot of people hated Solo. But after the movie came out, there was a good amount of people that liked the movie. I went into this movie expecting to absolutely hate it. I saw the marketing, I saw the trailers. There was no marketing. The trailers were crap, and I was like, this is going to be the worst of the Disney movies for me, isn't it? I walked out saying that was actually pretty good. It's not great. Again, some of these movies aren't going to be great movies, critically acclaimed, Oscar-worthy movies. But I was going through a rough time this year. And when I saw Solo: A Star Wars Story, there was something in me that relaxed. It relaxed me after I saw this movie. I don't know what it was. And I walked out saying that was enjoyable. It's not great. It's not perfect. But it's not as bad as the haters are making it say it is. And I've watched it multiple times on 4K, and I still haven't changed my opinion on it. Again, people are all over the map with this movie, and especially the movies that Disney has made with Star Wars. So there's going to be multiple people that disagree with it, but you know what, if you do, that's fine. For me, Solo: A Star Wars Story was pretty good. It wouldn't be a top 10 favorite list without some Marvel movies. So number 8 is Ant-Man and the Wasp. I didn't see this movie in theaters. I was putting off this movie. I really put off this movie for a while. I don't know why. I loved the first Ant-Man movie, and when I saw the trailers, I thought to myself, this movie looks like it could be really cool. But for some reason, I just said, let's hold off on it for a bit. I bought the 4K, still held off on it for a little bit, And I watched it basically after all the hype died down. So it was a while before I saw this movie, and when I did, I thought to myself, that was good. That was really good. It was a more of a softer tone than Infinity War was. Infinity War had this massive hype behind it. And then you go into AntMan and the Wasp, and it was very softened and smaller scale. And I appreciated it for that. The first AntMan was too. These are the more relaxed, enjoyable Marvel movies. Again, it's not great, but I really enjoyed myself. On with number 7 is Deadpool 2. I really enjoyed the first Deadpool movie, and I really enjoyed this one. I even think this one is a little better than the first one, which was kind of hard for me to admit because I love the first one. But as I watched the second one more and more, I found myself liking this one a lot more than the first one. I saw it 4 times in theaters, and each time got a little bit better and better for me. A lot of people aren't really talking about Deadpool 2 anymore, and no, I haven't seen Once Upon a Deadpool. I heard that wasn't that good, so I completely skipped that one. I heard it was just basically a PG-13 version of this one anyway. So why would I go see that when I could watch the good version of this movie? The super duper cut was okay. Didn't like it as much as the theatrical version, but I'm one of the few people that really enjoyed Deadpool 2. My next pick, I was actually planning on doing a video for. I don't know what happened to that. I was gonna film the video, but then, just like everything else this year, something kept getting in the way, so I told myself this is definitely gonna be on my list. On with number 6 is Incredibles 2. What a big surprise this was. I was one of the people that really loved the first Incredibles. I was at the perfect age when the Incredibles came out. I was like 10 years old. I love that movie. And I was like everyone else. I was like, why isn't there a sequel? This movie deserves a sequel. It left on a cliffhanger. So I went to this movie opening night, and I absolutely loved the movie. Is it better than the first one? I'd say no. I think the first one's still better. But nevertheless, this movie was great. There were people that were disappointed with it. I don't fully understand why. I mean, yeah, it's not one of the better Pixar movies, but it definitely delivered on what fans wanted and what we deserved after the first movie. Coming in at number 5 is my most anticipated movie of the year, Halloween 2018. This movie didn't surpass my expectations. It was right where my expectations were. It's what everything I wanted this movie to be. I kept saying to myself, I don't care what direction they take with this movie, I just want it to be good. And it was great. A lot of people were disappointed with this movie. I can understand that, it's not 100% original. It has some interesting choices that go on during the movie. Some of the comedy doesn't always fit. There's not a lot of suspense and tension like the first movie. But when you look at all the Myers sequels, they're not all that great. None of the sequels, unfortunately, gave me as much satisfaction as it did than I saw for the new one. I absolutely loved Halloween 2018. I'm going to buy the 4K the first day it comes out, and that's my number 5 pick. Coming in at number 4 is A Quiet Place. I saw A Quiet Place really late in the year. It came out in March, I believe. March or April, somewhere around that time. And people went nuts over this movie. So I said to myself, I need to see this movie. I'm not going to say what happened, but I went to go see it with some friends, and that really didn't work out. I ended up buying the Blu-ray, and I put it off just like I did with a lot of things this year. But, nevertheless, I did end up watching the movie, and I loved it. I really loved A Quiet Place. To me, it's the best horror movie that came out this year. Granted, I haven't seen much of the other horror movies, but there's no doubt in my mind that this is going to go down as one of the best modern horror movies of all time. If you haven't seen A Quiet Place, please check it out. It's really worth your time. Coming in at number 3 is a movie that I'm really not seeing a lot of people talking about. And when I saw it, I absolutely loved it. Isle of Dogs was freaking fantastic. Wes Anderson's one of the best filmmakers working today. And he just keeps making hit after hit. I really wanted to see Isle of Dogs in theaters. I You could probably guess I didn't. I skipped a lot of movies in theaters, but man, I wish I would have seen this movie in theaters. I bought the Blu-ray when it came out, I watched it at home, and I had such a great time. The animation is very well made. The acting, the voice work from the actors is brilliant. The story's the story's a bit weird, but it works. It works for this situation. The comedy was good, the serious stuff was good. This was a really well-made movie that more people need to be talking about. A great cast, great story that works, great humor, great animation. Everything was great in this movie. Please, if you haven't seen this movie, check it out. It's fantastic. Alright, number 2. You knew this movie was going to be on here eventually. Number 2 is Avengers Infinity War. I saw this movie with so much anticipation, and I walked out wanting to scream with happiness. 10 years of Marvel movies have led up to this point, and this movie did not disappoint in the least. I saw this movie with a packed theater, and everyone went nuts over this movie. I saw it with my parents. My parents have not seen any of the Marvel movies, and they really liked it. This movie has no problem satisfying hardcore Marvel fans, newcomers to the franchise, everyone. As far as I know, everyone either liked this movie or loved it. And I was one of the few people that really, really loved it. And I can't wait for Avengers Endgame. So I forgot to put my honorable mentions in the beginning of the video before I started at number 10. So I'm going to put them right here before I get to my number 1. My honorable mentions are Sorry to Bother You, Aquaman, Black Panther, and Den of Thieves. Pretty good movies, but out of the ones that I listed, those were the ones that had to get pushed to the honorable mentions. I liked all those movies, they just didn't quite make my list. Now, with that being said, on to number 1. Alright, on with number 1. This movie was my second most anticipated movie of this year, and it somehow surpassed Halloween for me. My number 1 is Mission Impossible Fallout. My God, did I love this movie. I didn't expect them to top Rogue Nation. Rogue Nation was my favorite of the Mission Impossible movies. But they did it. I don't normally say this about movies, but this movie was perfect. There was nothing that I didn't like about this movie. Even movies that I love, like Empire Strikes Back or Raiders of the Lost Ark, I still wouldn't call those movies absolutely perfect. This movie, I didn't have a single flaw with this movie. Yeah, the story's been done before, but you know what? The story justified itself to be in this movie. It had a reason for existing, and it continued the Mission Impossible story. And it was one of the first actual true sequels to Mission Impossible. They're kind of like James Bond. All the James Bond sequels can kind of be considered individual movies in the franchise. It's kind of the same with Mission Impossible. But this one continued after Rogue Nation, which was a smart move, because I wouldn't say it ended on a cliffhanger, but it definitely left the door open to continue that story. But everything was great in this movie. The action scenes, oh my God, were fantastic. Tom Cruise is fantastic in this movie. He risked his life to make these scenes look as authentic as possible. And that's because they actually did all those stunts on real locations with the real actors, and it shows. You don't need to say, prove to me that they didn't do that stuff. It's on the screen. More action movies need to be like this one. Not only is it the best Mission Impossible movie, it's going to go down as one of the best action movies of all time, because I have not seen a single person hate this movie. And if you do hate this movie, then you're just another Tom Cruise hater who's not going to give the movie a chance. I actually know those people. But for me, this movie did everything I wanted to do, and then some. Mission Impossible Fallout, the best movie of the year, in my opinion. Well, guys, those are my picks for my favorite movies of 2018. Again, some of these aren't really considered great movies, but again, I skipped a lot of movies this year. These were the movies that I scrounged up that I really enjoyed, that I've watched multiple times, and I'm going to look back on them. I'm not really going to look back fondly on 2018, but these movies I will look back on for 2018, because I was going through a rough time. These movies helped me get through the year. So stay tuned pretty soon. I'm going to be doing a video of my most anticipated movies of 2019. Also, stay tuned to the end of that video because I have a special announcement that I'm going to be doing for my channel the next year. So if you want to know what that is, stay tuned for that video. And don't forget to leave me your top 10 favorite movies of 2018 in the comments section. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, click right here. And I'll see you guys next time.